So certainly there has been an increase in government regulations, not only for the franchise business, but also in our specific industry. There are maybe about 35 states or so that actually have specific licenses for our business that are, individualized by state. So on the one hand, I would say that those increased regulatory requirements, both in franchising and in our business, certainly they affect our sales process because we make sure that folks understand what those are, right? So that's the biggest effect that it has, is just we need to tell people about it, right? The other thing that's closely related to that, though, is when it comes to these, you get into issues like joint employer as an example. And I am fearful that as a person who's made his career in franchising, having been around all of these franchise owners over the years with all different kinds of brands, I mean, you really get a sense for the risk that these people are taking, right? I mean, these people that open franchise, or any business for that matter, they're taking a huge financial risk. They're putting their families, often their financial stability on the line. They're certainly making sacrifices from a family perspective in the very beginning, and they're taking on tremendous risks. So my hope is that we continue forward, that the folks who are making the regulations, recognize the real risk that these franchisees are taking on to create all those jobs out there, to create the opportunities to mentor people in their community. Because if we start to regulate it too much, it's going to make it to the point where it's not at all, there's no incentive for those business owners to start the business. And I would never want to do that, because we've had so many good things come from new businesses out there. They create so many new jobs. And I think those local business leaders in the communities that they live in now, they have an opportunity to mentor people in their own business as well. So there's so many good things that can happen from it. We just have to be careful not to over-regulate it. Now, that being said, without any regulation, you end up having some other challenging situations. So, and the example I'll give you is in our business, we have, like I said, about 35 states that regulate have licensure and those kinds of things in some of the states that we do business in. Well, generally that's a good thing, right? Because it allows the state to monitor what's happening in that industry and make sure that things are being done the right way. So generally in that case, we're supportive of it. The challenge comes in is when, if it doesn't get executed properly, right? So as long as we have the consistent execution, most of the time we're just fine with the regulations, as long as they make sense.